The content presented in these videos is strictly for entertainment purposes and should not be misconstrued as an attempt to deceive or falsify information. The portrayal of guests in these videos is based on likeness and should not be regarded as a serious representation of their thoughts, opinions, or character. These videos aim to showcase the advancements in AI technologies and should be viewed only for inspiration. Welcome to today's interview with the legendary Carrie Fisher, an icon of the entertainment industry and beloved by millions across the globe. With a career spanning over 4 decades, Carrie has become synonymous with the Star Wars franchise, captivating audiences with her unforgettable portrayal of Princess Leia. But beyond Star Wars, Carrie Fisher is an accomplished author, screenwriter, and activist, known for her razor-sharp wit, fearless spirit, and willingness to speak her mind on issues close to her heart. She has been an advocate for mental health, shining a light on the importance of reducing stigma and providing support to those struggling with mental illness. She is also a vocal supporter of women's rights and has used her platform to call attention to issues such as pay inequality, domestic violence, and reproductive rights. Despite facing many challenges throughout her life, Carrie Fisher has remained a beacon of strength and resilience, inspiring countless fans to embrace their passions and pursue their dreams. Join us as we delve into Carrie's remarkable career, exploring her creative journey, the lessons she's learned along the way, and her vision for the future. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming the incomparable Carrie Fisher. Carrie, I just want to say how much I appreciate you taking the time to join us here today. It's truly an honor to have you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Carrie, your legacy as an actress and writer is enormous, and your impact on pop culture will be felt for generations to come. One of the reasons why you connected so well with fans was your ability to find humor in even the most challenging of circumstances. Beyond your incredible talent in acting, you were also a celebrated writer and a critic of society. I would love to hear your thoughts on the role of art in shaping our understanding of society and its challenges, and who is doing this particularly well today.
Well, art has always been a reflection of society, and it has the power to influence and shape opinions. Whether it's through literature, music, or film, art has a way of bringing people together and provoking thought and conversation.
Can you give us an example of an artist who is particularly effective in this regard?
There are many examples of artists who use their platform to highlight social issues and drive change. One artist that I think is particularly effective is Ava DuVernay, who has directed films such as Selma and When They See Us. She's a brilliant filmmaker who uses her storytelling skills to shine a light on issues such as racism and police brutality.
You have always been very open about your struggles with addiction and mental illness and how it has affected your life and work. How do you think art can help break the stigma surrounding mental health?
Art can be a powerful tool in breaking down barriers and making people feel less alone. It's important that we have open and honest conversations about mental health, and art can help facilitate that. My own struggles with addiction and bipolar disorder have informed my writing and acting, and I hope that by sharing my experiences, I can help others know that they're not alone in their struggles.
Your role as Princess Leia in the Star Wars franchise has become iconic, and your portrayal of a strong and independent woman has inspired countless girls and women around the world. What was it like to be part of such a groundbreaking project?
It was an incredible experience to be part of the Star Wars franchise, which has become such a cultural touchstone. In playing Princess Leia, I was able to represent a strong, confident, and complex female character to a generation of young girls. And that's something I'm very proud of. I think it's important that we continue to have diverse representation in film and television so that everyone, regardless of their background, can see themselves reflected on screen.
Carrie, you've been an integral figure in the film industry for decades, and your legacy as Princess Leia in Star Wars will forever be remembered. Today, I would love to discuss your thoughts on the direction the film industry is taking and how you see it evolving in the next decade. How do you feel about the current state of Hollywood?
Thank you for the kind words. Hollywood has certainly changed since I started in the industry. The way movies are made, distributed, and consumed has evolved tremendously, and I think it's only going to continue. We're in the digital age, and it's exciting to think about all the possibilities that come with that technology.
So, where do you see the film industry headed in the next decade?
I think we're going to see a lot of experimentation with new technologies such as virtual reality and augmented reality. People are craving immersive experiences, and Hollywood is going to find ways to deliver that. But at the same time, I hope we don't lose sight of the importance of storytelling.
In what way do you believe the use of new technologies will impact the stories that are told on the big screen?
I believe we're going to see more unique and innovative ways of storytelling that will utilize these new technologies. And that's exciting. But I also think it's important not to over-rely on technology to tell the story. At the end of the day, it's the human connection that is at the heart of any good story and that should never be sacrificed in lieu of flashy new gadgets.
Speaking of stories, can you tell us about your experience with the Star Wars franchise and what your thoughts were on the impact it had on pop culture?
Sure, Star Wars was a cultural phenomenon. When we were filming it, we never could have predicted the impact it would have on generations of fans. It just goes to show the power of storytelling and how a good story can resonate with people for decades. And I'm incredibly proud to have been a part of that legacy.
Carrie, your legacy as Princess Leia will forever be remembered, and your impact on the film industry will be felt for generations to come. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on the future of Hollywood with us today.
It was my pleasure. And remember, stay true to the story.
Carrie, it is an honor to have you here with us today. Your legacy is undeniable in the entertainment industry, and as we pay tribute to your exemplary career, I would love to hear your insights on today's visionaries in the world of art and film. Who do you see as the most visionary artist, writer, or filmmaker, and why?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. There are so many talented people out there, and it's hard to pick just one. But if I had to choose, I think I would have to go with Ava DuVernay. She's a powerhouse filmmaker, and her work really speaks to the times we're living in.
What makes her stand out to you specifically?
Well, first off, she's an incredible storyteller. She has this amazing ability to weave intricate narratives that really resonate with people. And not only that, but she's also a trailblazer in the industry. She's been a leading voice in pushing for more diversity and inclusion in Hollywood, which is so important. And on a personal level, she's just a really cool person. I love her energy and passion for what she does.
That's really interesting. Can you tell us about a time you met her?
Sure, I actually had the pleasure of meeting her a couple of years ago at a film festival. We were both on a panel together, and I remember being so impressed by her intelligence and wit. We hit it off right away, and we ended up spending the whole afternoon chatting and exchanging stories. It was really cool to connect with another woman in the industry who was as passionate as I am about using our voices to make a difference.
That sounds like an amazing experience. Do you have a favorite film of hers that really resonated with you?
Definitely. I loved Selma. It was such a powerful and moving film that really explored the complexity of the civil rights movement. The fact that it was directed by a woman of color made it even more impactful. Ava really has a gift for telling important stories that need to be heard. And I think that's what makes her such a visionary. Don't you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and insights, Carrie. Your words and legacy will continue to inspire generations to come.
If I could be any character from any movie, I would choose Indiana Jones. I mean, he's just so cool, isn't he? Plus, he gets to travel to all these exotic places, go on crazy adventures, and have all these close calls while saving the day. It would be such an exciting and fun life to lead.
That's a great choice. Have you ever met Harrison Ford, who played Indiana Jones?
Oh, of course. Harrison and I worked together on the Star Wars movies, and we became great friends. In fact, did you know that he almost didn't get the role of Indiana Jones?
Really? What happened?
Well, Steven Spielberg originally wanted Tom Selleck for the role, but he was already committed to another project, so they had to look for another actor. They auditioned a lot of people, but none of them really clicked with the role. Then Harrison came in to read for it, and the rest is history.
That's a pretty interesting story. And speaking of stories, you're a great writer and have penned several books and screenplays. What would you say is your favorite project that you've worked on?
Well, I really enjoyed working on Postcards from the Edge, which was based on my semi-autobiographical novel of the same name. It was a pretty challenging project, but I loved the experience of adapting my own story for the big screen. Plus, I got to work with Meryl Streep, who is just an amazing actress and such a pleasure to work with.
What was the most surprising aspect of your childhood that has influenced your life and career the most?
Surprising? Well, I don't know how surprising it was, but definitely my parents' high-profile careers had a big impact on my life.
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure, my mother was a famous actress and my father was a well-known singer, so I was exposed to the entertainment industry from a young age. I grew up going on film sets and attending concerts and events with them. It was a unique upbringing that definitely influenced my interest in the industry.
Did you always know you wanted to be an actress?
No, I actually wanted to be a writer growing up. I was always writing stories and poems and was very passionate about it.
So, how did you end up transitioning from writing to acting?
It was kind of a natural progression. After college, I moved back to Los Angeles and started getting small acting roles in TV shows and movies. but I continued to write in my spare time.
You are also known for your wit and humor in your writing and public appearances. How did that develop?
I've always used comedy as a coping mechanism, especially in difficult times. But it wasn't until I started doing stand-up comedy that I discovered the power of humor to connect with people and make them feel better. It's just my natural way of communicating, I guess.
You have played such iconic roles in films such as Star Wars. What was it like playing Princess Leia?
It was a great honor and a lot of fun. The character of Leia was so strong and independent, which was rare for female characters at the time. I was proud to play a character that inspired so many young girls to be brave and stand up for themselves.
Your legacy, both on and off screen, has had a profound impact on so many people. How do you want to be remembered?
I just hope people remember me as someone who was honest and unapologetic about who I was. I tried to be authentic in everything I did, whether it was writing, acting, or just being myself. And if I made people laugh along the way, even better. Looking back on my life, I don't have many regrets. There's the usual things like not being taller or thinner, but those are things I couldn't really control.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
I wish I could have been more disciplined in my personal life. One of my biggest regrets is not being sober earlier in life. My addiction to drugs and alcohol took a toll on my relationships, my career, and my health. It's something I battled for many years, and it's not something I'm proud of.
How did you ultimately overcome your addiction?
It took a lot of hard work and support from my family and friends. I went to rehab multiple times and eventually found a support group that helped me stay sober. It's a daily battle, but staying sober is one of the most important things in my life.
Do you have any other regrets?
Well, I wish I'd been able to spend more time with my daughter when she was growing up. I was away a lot for work, and it was difficult to balance being a mother and an actress. I missed out on some important moments in her life, and I wish I could have been there for her more.
What's your fondest memory from your career?
There are so many memories, it's hard to pick just one, but I think filming the original Star Wars trilogy was one of the most special and memorable experiences of my life. The cast and crew became like family, and it was amazing to be a part of something that's had such a lasting impact on popular culture.
Is there anything you would like your fans to remember about you?
I would like my fans to remember that I tried to be an honest and open person both in my work and in my personal life. I hope that I was able to connect with people in a real way and maybe even inspire some of them to be open and honest in their own lives. And of course, I hope they remember Princess Leia as a strong and independent character who has inspired generations of fans.
What insights can you share about how your struggles with addiction and mental health impacted your life and career, and how did you cope with these challenges over the years?
Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't easy. Addiction and mental health issues are no joke, and they can take a tremendous toll on your life and career. For me, it started with my struggles with addiction, which were compounded by my ongoing battle with bipolar disorder. It's tough to describe what that's like, but let me just say that it's a constant struggle. Fortunately, I was able to find support and guidance from some incredible people who helped me through some of the most difficult times.
What kind of support did you receive?
I had a lot of people who cared about me and wanted to help. One of my biggest advocates was my mother, who herself struggled with addiction issues. She was always there for me, pushing me to get the help I needed and being a constant source of encouragement and support. I was also fortunate to have a lot of great friends in the industry who helped me through some of the darkest times.
Can you tell us about a time when you leaned on your friends or colleagues for support?
Well, there was one time when I was filming the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope. I was having a particularly tough time, and I was struggling to stay focused on my work. Harrison Ford, who played Han Solo, noticed that I was struggling and took me aside to talk. He gave me some great advice about staying focused and staying true to my craft. It was a really pivotal moment for me, and I'm so grateful to him for his kindness and support.
How did you manage to maintain your career through these struggles?
It wasn't easy, let me tell you. There were times when I felt like giving up, but I knew that I had to keep going. Acting was always my passion, and it was something that I truly loved doing. Even when things were at their worst, I would remind myself why I was doing this. I also made sure to take care of myself and get the help I needed, whether it was checking into rehab or going to therapy.
Carrie, your resilience and dedication to your craft are truly admirable. As we celebrate your accomplishments, I'm curious to know, apart from your iconic role as Princess Leia, what is a lesser-known acting role that you particularly enjoyed and why?
Well, probably one of my favorite and lesser-known roles was in a film called The Blues Brothers. It was a small part, but it was just so much fun to be a part of. I got to sing, dance, and just be silly, which is always a good time. Plus, I got to work with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, which was an absolute blast.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience working with them?
Oh, they were just hilarious. We had so much fun on set. They were always making jokes and coming up with new ideas to try out. I remember one time we were on break and John decided to recreate a scene from Animal House where he smashed a guitar. Except instead of a guitar, he used an acoustic bass. It was just so random and silly, but that was just the kind of energy they brought to the set.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Did you have any funny or memorable moments during filming?
Oh, we definitely had our fair share of funny moments. One thing that stands out to me was when we were filming the scene where we drive the car through the mall. I remember John and Dan were in the front and I was in the back with the other guys. Well, John decided to start doing donuts in the car, and I remember just laughing so hard that I couldn't even focus. It was just one of those moments where the joy and freedom of the scene just really came to life.
That sounds like an incredible experience. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Of course, happy to share. It was just such a special and memorable time in my life, and I'll always look back on it fondly. I'll never forget this one time when I was on the set of Star Wars. I was in a scene with Mark and Harrison, and we were shooting a particularly tense scene. I don't remember exactly what happened, but there was a moment where the tension had built up so much that I just blurted out, "You guys gonna kiss or what?" The whole crew burst out laughing, and the tension just melted away. It was one of those moments where I just acted on instinct, and it turned out to be the perfect way to break the tension.
That's hilarious. It sounds like you had a lot of fun on set. Were there any other moments like that?
Oh, plenty. One time we were shooting a scene where I was supposed to be running through the forest, but I was wearing these huge boots that made it impossible to run. So I just started doing this ridiculous shuffle, pretending like I was sprinting as fast as I could. Everyone on the set was cracking up, and we ended up using that take in the final cut of the movie.
It sounds like you had a great sense of humor and a real talent for comedy. Were there any comedians or comedic actors who inspired you?
Definitely. My mother, Debbie Reynolds, was a huge inspiration for me when it came to comedy. She had this incredible timing and sense of humor that just lit up the room. And of course, I was a big fan of Groucho Marx and the Marx Brothers. They were masters of wit and sarcasm, and I always admired the way they could turn any situation into a hilarious one-liner.
You definitely inherited your mother's gift for comedy. Do you think your sense of humor helped you in your acting career?
Absolutely. I think comedy is one of the most powerful tools an actor can have. It's a way of connecting with the audience and bringing them into the story. And it's something that can help you navigate difficult situations both on and off screen. I was always grateful for my ability to find the humor in any situation, even the toughest ones.
Speaking of projects, what projects were you particularly excited about working on in the near future? And what kind of roles were you interested in exploring?
Well, I'm always looking for challenging and interesting roles to take on. I had a few upcoming projects that I was particularly excited about. One was a TV series that I was set to star in and produce called Catastrophe. It was a hilarious show that explored the ups and downs of a relationship between a couple who accidentally got pregnant. The other project was a feature film called Wonderwell, which was a fantasy adventure set in a magical land. I was really drawn to both of these projects because they broke the mold of the typical roles that I had been offered in the past.
That sounds really exciting. Did you have a preference for any particular type of role?
Well, I'm always drawn to complex and layered characters that challenge me as an actor. I love roles that allow me to explore different dimensions of the human experience and bring something new to the table. I also really enjoy playing characters with a playful and irreverent sense of humor, which is why I loved playing Princess Leia so much. She was a tough, no-nonsense kind of woman who could also be incredibly witty and sarcastic. That was always a lot of fun to play.
Speaking of Princess Leia, your role in Star Wars was iconic and beloved by fans all over the world. What was it like to be a part of that franchise?
Oh, it was an incredible experience. The Star Wars universe is truly like no other. It's a story that speaks to people of all ages and backgrounds and has captured the imaginations of generations of fans. Playing Princess Leia was an honor and a privilege, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to bring this iconic character to life. The response from fans has been overwhelming and incredibly humbling. I feel very lucky to have been a part of it.
What advice would you give to young actors looking to break into the industry in today's climate?
I tell young actors that they should put together a one-woman or man show. You don't have to wait for some go-ahead from 20 producers. You don't have to wait for someone to validate your existence. You can create your own material, do your own show, and get it up.
Wow, that's great advice, Carrie. When did you first come up with that idea?
Well, it started when I was in New York doing a play, and I was playing this very small part, and I thought, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be in control of my career, of what I do. I want to do my own thing. So I sat down and started writing, and that's how wishful drinking started.
That's amazing. How did you decide what to write about in wishful drinking?
I just started writing whatever came to mind. It was a cathartic experience for me. It allowed me to laugh at my pain, my struggles, and everything I had been through. It was like therapy. And when I started performing it, I realized that it was helping other people too. It was giving them a sense of catharsis.
So you think young actors should write about their own experiences?
Absolutely. I think young actors should write about their experiences, their struggles, their triumphs. They should tell their own stories because no one else can tell it like they can.
That's great advice. Do you have any other advice for young actors?
Yes, I would say don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You never know what might happen if you don't take that chance. And most importantly, be authentic. Be true to yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Embrace who you are, flaws and all, because that's what makes you unique.
It has been an absolute honor to spend this time with the iconic Carrie Fisher. Your work in the entertainment industry has left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of so many people around the world.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Before we finish, is there anything you would like to say to all the fans of your work, especially those who have been inspired by your portrayal of Princess Leia in the Star Wars franchise?
Yes, I would love to. To all my fans out there, especially those who have connected with my character, Princess Leia, I want to say thank you. The reception of Princess Leia has been overwhelming, and I know that she has inspired countless people to believe in themselves and stand up for what they believe in. Always remember to fight for what's right and to have the strength to persevere through any obstacle that comes your way. I hope that my portrayal of Princess Leia will continue to inspire future generations of young people and show them that strong, independent women belong in the spotlight.
Those are truly words to live by, Carrie. Your legacy in both life and art will continue to shine brightly for years to come. Thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom with us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.